Boxing is perhaps the world's oldest martial art. Reason dictates that empty-handed combat is as old as human conflict. Before the advent of weaponry, some incarnation of punching and wrestling, and perhaps kicking, would have been the first martial art. Indeed, boxing has been around since the dawn of man and has the richest history of all combat sports. So let's take a look at the roots and branches of the ancient history of boxing. This strip of land that is now called Israel or Palestine was once called the land of Canaan. So called because, as the story goes, a man named Canaan and his children, the Canaanites, settled the land. Canaan was the youngest son of Chem, or Ham, making him Hamitic in Semitic land. He is the brother of Masri, who was the father of Egypt, Cush, the father of East Africa, and Phut, the father of North Africa. The Canaanites are one of the earliest African groups to settle in Asia Minor. They were an extremely diverse people group with many sub-tribes of various skin colors ranging from black, red, brown, and tan. The Canaanites were the foundation of various ancient empires, from the Hittites to the Phoenician Carthaginian Empire, which extended into North Africa, Spain, the Aegean Islands, and Sicily, long before the Greeks and Romans took it over. These subtypes of Canaanites became the foundation of many modern races, such as the Sinites. Chinese people call themselves Sino people, or Sino people, or Chino people. In Ptolemaic Egypt, they were called the Sinai, but in Hebrew, the Sinai is the Sinim, and Sinim translates to Sinites. DNA evidence, in fact, confirms this. We will explore this concept a lot further when we explore the boxing history of China. These are the nations that came from Canaan: Chinese, Tibetan, Taiwanese, Thais, Vietnamese, Laotians, Cambodians, Japanese, Eskimos, American Indians, Malaysians, Indonesians, Filipinos, Hawaiians, Maoris, Polynesians, Tahitians, Guamians, Samoans, Fijians, Tongans, Pacific Islanders, and other related groups. When we examine the martial arts of other culture, we will come back to this and use this as a reference. This is not surprising when you consider that the Canaanites were known by the Greeks as the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were master sailors of the ancient world. The Greeks call them Phoenicians, meaning land of purple, because they developed a purple dye from the snails native to their land. It is from the Phoenicians that we get the word phonics and writing. But what did the Canaanites or Phoenicians contribute to boxing? The oldest combat sports stadium. If MSG is the mecca of boxing today, then Amrit Stadium would have been the mecca of boxing throughout ancient Afro-Asia. While the word stadium is a Greek word, they were not the first to build one. The Phoenicians, much like their African brothers Masri and Cush, influenced the Grecians heavily. It is clear that these three are the foundation of Greek mythology. In fact, Greeks depicted their gods at first with African features. Evidence tells us that these master sailors, the Phoenicians, sailed to Greece first and established a city called Marathos, named after their own city, Marathos, who was based on their god. Now called Amrit, Marathos can be found in modern-day Syria and was built around the 4th century BC, although recent studies suggest it was built around 1500 BC. This stadium was known about since at least 1745, but we rarely hear about these things. This stadium was similar in dimension to the Greek Olympic Stadium. However, the Greek Olympic Stadium was built upon twice. The final image that we now see of it, it was not completed until around 144 AD, hundreds of years after the Phoenicians. So it is evident that the Greek Olympic Stadium is a replica of the Phoenician Stadium. The stadium was on the west and it had two entrances on the east between the seats. There were also tunnels to the interior. It was located at the right angle at the temple of Mebed. This has led experts to believe that there is a sacred element to the sporting traditions that took place here. Combat sports, from stick fighting to wrestling and boxing, was always linked to the worship of their gods and was done seasonally. This god was often represented as a bull. Now time for a little side story. While researching this, I learned something interesting. Bull leaping is a practice that is seen in Canaanite art, from the Hittites of Anatolia to the Phoenicians of Crete, also known as the Minoans. It was also recorded in Ethiopia as a rite of passage for young men to marry, while among the Imbangala of South Africa, it was used as the form of military and martial arts training of Angolo, the root of capoeira. The Phoenicians brought this practice to Spain, which is the origin of bullfighting. The chant Ole, which is used in bullfighting, is related to a chant of an African bull god, Babalue. It is said that the Spanish Ole is translated from the Arabic Allah. This chant, Ole, 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 was a famous song by Arrow. This song was remixed and used in World Cup, and it became famous in the UK. This chant somehow found its way into the UK MMA fans. So whenever you guys are chanting Ole Ole, just know you're worshiping an African bull god that goes all the way back to the Canaanites. So the Canaanites may very well have been chanting Ole Ole in their stadium thousands of years ago. On another side note, the man who pioneered bull wrangling in America, Bill Bull Dodger Pickett, was a descendant of West African and Native Americans, both of which can be linked to Canaanites migrating west. This is evidence of culture being ingrained into DNA. Remember that for our future video. Greek Olympic boxing records show a number of people with Canaanite backgrounds or from places that were historically populated by Canaanites, be it the Hittites or the Phoenicians. Some notable boxers who won the Greek Olympics that may be Canaanite or of Canaanite and Greek mix include Melanchomos. Melanchomos won the 207th Greek Olympiad boxing in 49 AD. He was a champion from Phoenique, Caria, Anatolia. Phoenique is where we get the word Phoenician. Melanchomos may have been a nickname, for it seems to mean black coma, black sleep, or black komos, a Greek god of anarchy and chaos. Melanchomos was famous for never losing a fight, and much like Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, or Sweet Pea, never got hit and allegedly never threw a punch. I'm guessing he just used evasion until his opponents fatigued and gave up, a feat only repeated in modern boxing by Floyd Money Mayweather.
Floyd is saying to us, I got him to punch himself out.
Marcus Tillis. Marcus Tillis won the Greek Olympiad in 141 AD and again in 145 AD. He was from Apame, Syria, and to the best of my knowledge, Syria was originally Canaanite territory. And last but not least, Phormyon. He won the Greek Olympiad in 392 BC. And although he was from Halicarnassus, at that time it was under Persian occupation, and to the best of my knowledge and research, it was a place originally populated heavily by Canaanites, before the Persians and the Greeks. Egyptian history shows that they competed with the Canaanites and the Cushites seasonally, boxing, wrestling, stick fighting, and other sports. Thus, it is highly likely that Marathon Stadium was the center for big events. I found no evidence of stadiums in Egypt or in Kush. If they had a seasonal gathering, it is highly likely that this was a center for it. We may not have many surviving records of their boxing history as we do with modern boxing history, but what we do have is the oldest known stadium that boxers competed in. And I made this video so that we don't forget about them. It belongs in the pages of ancient boxing history, while their traditions and styles is survived by their descendants. But we will take a look at that next time on Ancient Boxing History. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and make sure you smash that like button, leave your thoughts in the comments section, and I'm trying to get these videos to at least 500 likes so I can continue doing this just to make it worth it. I feel that I'm spending a lot of time on these videos, and if they're not being seen, then what's the point in spending so much time editing? Anyway, this is a video in a long series of videos that I plan to do covering the ancient history of boxing, the pre-modern history of boxing, and then the modern history of boxing. Hope y'all enjoy. Definitely looking forward to hearing from you guys. Let me know what you think. And also, if you want to support this channel, in addition to liking, comment, and sharing, you can go over to my website, thefocusballs.com, and cop yourself a focus ball. If you're stuck in the house like everyone should be, and you want to get a workout, the focus ball is the perfect tool for boxing, indoors. Train every time, everywhere, and take your striking game to the next level with the focus ball. Are you ready to take your striking game to the next level? Then you've got to get the focus ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, reflex, hand-eye coordination, head movement, and striking IQ. Lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere with the focus ball.